Hey guys, it's Rachel from The Little Green Lamb, and today I have a book review on The Story of My Teeth by Valeria Luiselli. And also I just looked at my footage from my last video, and this sweater looks very weird on camera, but it's dip dyed, and it's really baggy, so it's showing up really weird. But anyway, I just thought I'd mention that because it was really bothering me, like, looking back at it because where I framed it. Anyway, that is unnecessary when it comes to the plot of this book. But this book I finished reading. I think it was my second or third book that I read in January. And I really enjoyed this, but I have very mixed feelings on it. So the story of before I get into this actually, I'm just going to do the pre-ramble. This will be a spoiler-free review, and if you're new to my book reviews or just need a refresher, I read my books in 5 different categories: plot, characters, cover, suspense, and overall in terms of reading, and very soon, 5 out of 5, not so soon, 1 out of 5. So this book is basically about a man named Gustavo Highway Sanchez, and he is a lot of things, but most importantly, he is an auctioneer. And this book has a fascination around teeth of famous people, and his most precious possessions are the teeth of the notorious infamous, like Plato, Petrarch, Chesterton, and Virginia Woolf. And this is written in collaboration with the workers at a juice factory. The story of My Teeth is an elegant, witty, exhilarating romp through the industrial suburbs of Mexico City, and Luiselli's own literary influences and a meditation on, as Highway says, the variable value of art. Which, also, reading this back cover, I didn't know who Petrarch was before this semester, but actually one of my classes when I was reading this, we were studying Petrarch, and if you don't know him, he's like the one who kind of forwarded the Italian humanist movements in the 1300s, I believe it was. And yes, I'm studying him right now, so I found that very interesting. I was like, oh, I finally get a reference. But this story I found on BookTube, people talking about it, and I've found it really interesting in that this cover is different than the cover I originally saw, but still, the story of My Teeth is pretty striking. And this book also won a Los Angeles Times Book Prize, so that also made me very interested. So if I'm looking down, also I'm looking at my notebook I just put on the floor. So for the plot, I give it 3.55. Now this book, it's weird how I love this book, but it didn't stay with me too much. Like, it stayed with me, but it didn't have a big impact, so I don't feel like I can rate it higher. And it's a very weird book to rate because it is a book in collaboration, it is a book in sections, little like vignettes, and it's very hard to get my feelings down about this. That's why it's very hard for me to film this review. But I gave it a 3.5 because I did like the plot, I did like where it went. There was a few slow moments, but I was very intrigued, and it's something different that I've never read before. And I really loved how it took place in Mexico City because I don't think I've read very many books that take place there. So that was also interesting, and how she had pictures in this, and how it was actually, you know, it wasn't just, there was actually places that are real, that there's pictures of that in this book, and I wouldn't have known if they were fiction or not unless they were really told to me because I don't know the landmarks there. So it was very interesting that because it was kind of like, you know, like a city walkthrough, I guess, the character, and there's actually legitimate, real places rather than just made up places, which I did enjoy. And I really liked how the character went through. I thought he had some interesting moments and interesting stories, but for the most part, sometimes it was a little confusing or slow, and it didn't have the biggest impact on me, but I'm really happy I still read it. I really enjoyed it, though. When I originally saw a book review of this book, I forget whose channel it was right now. I think it was Rincey Reads. I'll try to see if I can remember whose review I watched and link in the down bar. But basically, whoever was talking about this, it might have been hers or somebody else's, they were saying that it's very hard to talk and rate this book, and I get it now. This is probably one of the harder books I've actually had to sit down and talk about, just because if you've read it, you know what it is. It's like really difficult to talk about it and rate it. And characters gave it 3.5 to 5. I didn't super connect with Gustavo or Highway. Why was I saying Highway? It's Sanchez or whatever. So I didn't really connect a lot with him, but I did connect with him. You know, like, he had some very insightful moments with him, but the side characters you didn't get too much insight on. It was mostly like his show. And yeah, like, I connected, but then I didn't super connect, and that's where my disconnect comes in. But I liked it more than to give it a 3 out of 5, you know. Cover, I give a 3.5 to 5. Now this cover I originally saw, instead of this like beige background, it was royal blue. It was striking, beautiful. I don't really like this edition too much, but I do love how the teeth are all different. They're not like the same tooth, because teeth are all different, and they could have just done like the same, but it's okay. But also, for the reason I give the cover that is because on the inside they have these little designs. I don't know if you can see that in between the little vignettes or chapters, and I really enjoyed that. Suspense, I give a 5 out of 5. Sorry, I was looking down my notebook. 5 out of 5. The suspense was, like, I wanted to keep reading. I wanted to know what was going to happen. And it had me gripped in that way, which is why also I gave it a 3.5 for the plot and kept bumping it up rather than be a 3 out of 5. Because it did keep me wanting to read more. And overall, I give it a 4 out of 5. It was a pretty good book. I'll probably reread it again. It's very short. And if you want to pick up a book that's interesting and done differently than other books, I definitely recommend this one. Just because I gave it a low score, I don't want that to hamper on the book, because I felt the book was really strong and all, just I didn't connect super with it. And I don't think I was supposed to connect super with it. I think that was the point. This character is somebody that it's more reading about than connecting with for me. And I'm perfectly fine with that, and I think this was a fine book. Is it one of my favorites? No, but I'm really glad I read it, and I'm really glad I took the time to read it. And yes, that's my book review on The Story of My Teeth by Valeria Luiselli. Also, I hope I'm pronouncing the author's name right. If I'm not, I'm sorry about that. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.